My parents tried to screw over my dying stepmom, and it blew up in their faces, tearing our family apart. My stepmom Linda basically raised me, not in a figurative way, in a literal, showed up every single day, made sure I had what I needed kind of way. My bio mom loved me in her own way, but she was inconsistent. Some weeks she was fully present. Other weeks she disappeared into her own problems, and I just had to figure things out. My dad wasn't much better before Linda. He was broke, unstable, staying in a motel when they first met, and my mom was doing everything she could to keep him away from me out of spite. Linda changed all of that. She was the one who got my parents talking like adults. She negotiated a visitation schedule when neither of them could afford a lawyer. She made sure my dad actually sent money every week, and even though none of that was her responsibility, she never complained about it. Not once. She just did it because she thought it was the right thing for me. She even set up a bedroom for me at their house. Not a spare room with a cot, a real bedroom, decorated the way I liked it, because she said every kid deserves a space that feels like theirs. My home situation at the time was unstable. Different apartments, different people rotating through, my mom's life constantly in flux. Linda saw that and quietly fixed it without making a big deal out of it. When my half-sisters were born a few years later, nothing changed. Linda never made me feel like an outsider or like I mattered less. She treated all three of us exactly the same. Same rules, same love, same expectations. That kind of consistency is rare, and I didn't appreciate how rare until I was older. When I was 16, Linda won a major lawsuit against an airline. The settlement was over $1 million. I remember thinking she was about to completely change her lifestyle, but she didn't. She paid off the house, she got a new car, they took a few nice vacations, and then she quietly set up trust funds for me and both my sisters, so we would all be taken care of when we got older. She could have kept every dollar and no one would have blamed her. Instead, she thought about us first. That's who she is. Then everything started to fall apart. About a year ago, Linda started getting sick. Nobody told me exactly what was wrong, but I could see it every time I visited. She looked tired in a way that went deeper than sleep. She was at the hospital constantly. My dad was vague whenever I asked questions, and my sisters were being kept in the dark too. Something was seriously wrong, and the adults had decided we didn't need to know what. Around the same time, my bio mom started showing up at their house way more than usual, cooking dinner, staying the night when Linda was in the hospital, playing house with my sisters like she'd always been part of their lives, but she absolutely had not. My mom never liked Linda, never liked my sisters. She'd made that clear over the years in small ways, so watching her suddenly act warm and domestic was deeply unsettling. My dad was eating it up. I tried talking to him about it. I told him it looked bad. I told him it felt wrong. He said I was being paranoid and reading too much into things. But I know my mother. I've watched her operate my entire life. She doesn't do anything without a reason. Then she started talking about wanting to travel, mentioned looking into investments, started dropping hints about a financial windfall like it was already a done deal. My mom has been a bartender since before I was born. She lives paycheck to paycheck, always has. So where exactly was this money coming from? That's when it clicked. I went to the hospital and asked to see Linda alone. She told me the truth immediately. Kidney failure. Irreversible. She had maybe a few months left and was already transitioning into hospice care. I sat with that for a second, and then I told her everything. What my mom had been doing at the house, how my dad had been acting, the things my mom was saying about money, all of it. It broke my heart to tell her, but she deserved the truth and I wasn't going to protect the wrong people. We both cried for a long time. 2 days later, my mom showed up at the house in full meltdown mode, screaming at my dad, demanding to know how Linda had found out. I stepped forward and told her it was me. I said if they wanted to play those kinds of games, then they were going to deal with the consequences. My mom slapped me. Then my dad stood there and said nothing while my mom, still furious, made the single worst decision of her life. She told him the truth, out loud, in front of my sisters. She never loved him. She had been faking the entire relationship to get close enough to access Linda's money once she was gone. She figured he'd inherit everything and she'd marry into it. The room went completely silent. My dad didn't move, didn't speak, just stood there while his whole life caved in.